Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about a few things that can actually hurt the appraisal if you're trying to sell your home. Now, if you don't know what an appraisal is, it's more or less a professional price valuation that determines the value of your home. So this comes into play in negotiations all the time. Basically, what you need to know is that a lender cannot finance a loan for a higher value than what the home is appraised at. So let's just say, for ease in numbers, you've offered $500,000 on a home and your offer gets accepted. Boom, now you're in contract at $500,000. Now, during your due diligence period, the appraiser comes out and he appraises the home at $490,000. So your lender cannot finance any more than that $490,000. So now there's this $10,000 gap, right? And who's gonna pay it? Well, that becomes a negotiation, and I've seen it solved many ways, and we're not gonna really deep dive into that right now, but just for the sake of clarity, that's kind of what an appraisal is and why it is important. So here are 3 things that can really hurt your appraisal when the inspector comes out to look, and if you stay till the end, I'm gonna give you a bonus 4th thing, so make sure that you keep watching. The first one's really obvious. This is poor property condition. The overall condition of the property is pretty critical in determining its value, right? Like, that's pretty obvious. There are gonna be things that are specific to your area. Some will be statewide things and some will be by the county. For example, here in Washoe County, which is where Reno and Sparks are located, your home has to have earthquake straps around the water heater. There have to be 2 of them, and they have to be 1/3 from the top and 1/3 from the bottom. It's just how it is, and it's one thing that kind of gets people all the time. It's an easy fix. It's a few bucks to throw each one on. It's not that labor intensive. Like, I've had people in my office go and do it themselves just to get the appraisal passed. But that said, if you have to have something re-inspected by an appraiser, it's gonna be, about $150 for a re-inspection fee. So you're gonna wanna save yourself and make sure that your agent is saving you extra costs, and make sure that they're aware of all the nitty-gritty and detailed things that can come up in an appraisal, just so you can get ahead of that cost. Another thing are comparables, right? And this should be a given, but the appraiser, just so you guys know, he does look at comps. And I've had this happen all the time where I've recently sold a property, like represented the buyer or seller, and an appraiser will call me and say, I saw that it sold, how did that go? Were there any things like that are not seen on the actual listing or on Zillow that I can't really see that contributed to that price tag of that sale? For example, I had one, a few months ago that had an incredible backyard. And so he was looking at the comps and he was saying, well, this isn't really comping with the neighborhood. And I'm like, right, but what you can't see is that the backyard had mature fruit trees, it had all these things, and for whatever reason, there weren't really adequate photos of that in the listing, so that is what contributed to the higher price point of that sale. Just so you're aware, the appraiser is going to pull comps when looking at the value of your home, and they're going to be recently sold comps. The 3rd thing is going to be the market climate and market conditions, right? The appraiser, as part of their job, is going to be keeping up on the market and knowing whether it's a buyer or seller's market and kind of how much negotiating power each party in the transaction will have, and kind of adjusting their appraised value based upon that. So you're just gonna wanna keep that in mind. That's something that none of us can really do anything about. Believe me, if I could control the market, my life would be very different. So it's really just one of those things you have to keep in mind. It's not really anything you can, do anything about. And last but not least, if you've watched this far, you do probably want to hear my 4th and bonus item, and that is location and neighborhood. And this has a huge impact, right? If you have the most beautiful home, immaculately kept, if it's in a bad neighborhood, the value is gonna go down. I've had appraisers call me and say, there's this really great house, you sold the one next to it, I'm kind of like comping it based on that, but the only problem is on the other side, there's a 7-Eleven that's really seedy. So, you just have to kind of keep in mind location, location, location. That's what we all say, right? That's the first thing you learn as a realtor. But that said, it can work in the opposite direction too. If you have a home that's a total fixer-upper, but it's in a nice neighborhood, it's still gonna be valued most likely less than homes that are similar. because it's gonna need a lot of work. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. If you have further questions about appraisals or any topic really in real estate, I would love to be a resource for you. You can book a free call with me with the link in the description box below. It's no obligation, completely free, just an opportunity for us to connect and see how I might be of service to you and put a strategy and plan in place for you to help you win in this market. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and that subscribe button. It helps me out, and that way you don't miss any of my upcoming content. I put out new videos every single week about the Reno Sparks housing market, the Northern Nevada lifestyle, and all things related to buying and selling real estate. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.